Hey, what's up? This is Zeal Brothers here once again. And I want to pose a way of looking at the world for you men. And I want you to consider this that life is a series of tests that we either pass or fail. Now, if you look at life like that, it will change your perspective because the truth of the matter is that oftentimes men are kind of just floating through life without purpose. When you float through life without a purpose and you think things just happen to you just because they happen to you, you will not recognize that there is a point you're going because you're going nowhere. Right now, nowhere is somewhere. And I know that sounds like a weird phrase, but it is true, right? The bottom is somewhere. Going nowhere means that you don't get to your goal. But if life is taking you somewhere, then everything that happens in your life should be purposeful. And why are things happening to you is the question you got to ask yourself. And that's somewhat of a philosophical question, right? Because we always ask ourselves, why does this happen to me? Why did this bad thing happen to me? Why did that person talk like that to me? Why did my wife say that to me? But rather than asking why it happened to you, you need to ask yourself, how do I pass this test? Because here's the thing that you need to realize. Life is purposeful. And what happened to you happened for a reason. Everything that happens to you, you need to ask, first of all, how is it building my larger life story? And what I mean by that is this. Your first test is recognizing who you are as a man, your strengths and your weaknesses. I know, following my life story, that God wants me to exercise more control over my anger. So when I'm in a 50-50 situation and I get a chance to just let off on somebody or I have to hold it in, I'm going to know, based on my life's trajectory, that God is going to want me to be controlled. But you might be different. You might be someone who has been cowardly in the past, whereas I've been reckless in the past. So you might be somebody who, based on your trajectory of your life, you might say to yourself, man, dang it, I need to speak out. But again, that is recognizing where your tests are going, because tests often kind of also imply the fact that we are all employed in some kind of major, right? We all have a major where we're going. Now, I know that you're a man or you're a woman that's watching this video. You already know your larger purpose of being a man or being a woman. What's the purpose of a man? A man's purpose is to build. A woman's purpose is to make things better. And that's the real simple things that we can do, right? Simply, that is always the case. If a woman is not making things better, she's not fulfilling her purpose as a woman. A man is to build. And if a man is not building, if a man is not leading, he's not accomplishing what he's supposed to accomplish. But then what am I supposed to build? And that's going to be your major, right? What is your major? Well, I'm building a church, right? Or I'm building my business, or I'm building my family. All of these things could be true. And you got to ask yourself, why did this test happen? What am I supposed to learn from it? Sometimes you may even fail a test and you got to say, what can I take from this past test? I think of an NFL team. When NFL teams lose, they don't just lose. They don't just say, well, chalk that one up as an L. No, they say, hey, what could we do differently? I was watching the Packers game on Sunday, and the kicker had missed kick after kick. At the end of the game, the coach was talking about those missed kicks. And they talked about how they were going to examine their operation. And I know that's a long way of saying it, but basically what they really just said is the long snapper and the holder and the protection and the kicker all got to be examined, because every single piece of it determines whether the field goal kick will be successful. If we just looked at the angle of the kick and looked at the outcome, we would not learn anything. We have to look at the whole play and see what people did right, what people did wrong, and examine that, and not just take the L, but take the L as a learning opportunity. What can I do better? If you take life as a test, especially as a man, then you'll stop being so angry about certain things. And one of the things you'll stop being angry so much about is when women test you, because women will test you. And you might say to yourself, man, what do you mean? Why do women play games? Or why do women do this? Or why do women do that? And there's a whole bunch of reasons why that might happen. And I'm not even the deepest on that. But the truth of the matter is that you will be tested, because you need to know what caliber man you are. It's so easy. It's so easy to go out there and say, I'm going to hold the line and stand my ground as a man. Nobody knows that until you've been tested, right? So when your kids do this wrong and you say, no, don't do that again, and then they just do it again, are you going to hold the line? The test is to show something, right? And if you are going to ace the test, you're not going to be mad at the test. Now, you made me angry that you had to have that test, right? In that situation, if that happened to me, I will be somewhat frustrated that my child did that. But the truth of the matter is that it's also an opportunity. It's an opportunity for me to establish that discipline will occur, and that discipline is consistent. And so your bad action and your direct opposition to my leadership will be met with force every single time. Now, that force may have different forms, right? That force may be first a stern warning. It may be gradual, right? First, it goes to a repeat of what the standard is. Maybe it'll be a stern warning. Maybe it'll be a timeout. Maybe it'll be a spanking right away. For me, sometimes I like to vary it up. Sometimes I just go straight to the last spank, right? I go straight to that because once I warned you once, I don't really need to warn you a whole bunch of times. Some of you men repeat yourself too much. But the truth of the matter is that is a test. It is a test to prove that you are the man that you want to be. The same with somebody, you come home and your wife got an attitude with you. Now, you can accept that. And if you accept that, then the test is saying he is okay with you coming home and having bad attitude. He is okay with him saying one thing and you just being snide with him for no reason that he did nothing to you. If that's the kind of man you are, then that test will keep on coming until you prove that that's the man you're not. Until you can prove, no, that's not okay. Now, how do you show that's not okay? Again, that's how you pass the test. Because some men will go as wild as to say, well, I'm going to just cut off any woman who acts like that. And guess what? Every lady is going to act like that because every man does wrong too. Everybody will test you. And the question is, how do you show them that you will pass the test, and how you do it with class, right? It will be so easy if we were the strongest man in the world and we could just uppercut everybody, right? You just go around uppercutting, just handing out butt kickings to everybody. It could be easy if you wanted to do things like that. It'd be very simplistic, but the world is too complex for that. You can't beat everybody up. You can't fight everybody. You can't argue everybody down. You can't browbeat everybody. So you have to use some complexity, and that's why it's a test. Because if there was the same answer every time, it'd be easy to pass. But it becomes different. Different situations demand different answers. The test climbs in difficulty. Right? As you pass one test, you'll get another test. But the next test will not be as easy as the last one that you just passed, because now you've graduated from that test to a new one. Sometimes you'll keep getting the same test over and over. And it is to prove that even though you thought you answered successfully, maybe there's a better answer. So stop thinking of life as random accidents that occur to you, and think of it as you have a purpose. And if you have a purpose, the things that happen to you for a purpose. And what are you trying to accomplish?